Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Jugglers on Juggling. I'm your host, Richard Kohut, aka Reese's2150, and I first off have to apologize about the delay. It's been about, 4, 5, maybe 6 weeks by the time this comes out since the last episode. There are two reasons for that. The primary reason is because I was really busy studying and making sure that I passed, and I did, all of my finals in college, because I had 4 classes that I had to study for, and it was worth it. I passed them. I'm done with that. Also, the second reason is because I was really struggling to come up with new topics for the episodes, but that's behind me now. And as you may notice, we are not on the couch today. Today, we're in mine and my father's workshop, where I built my throwing knife target and my rollabola board. That's because today I'm going to show you guys how to modify a standard fat ring and turn it into a ring holster on this episode of JOJ. So this is what you're going to need. You're going to need, obviously, a fat ring, which you can get from either Renegade Juggling or JugglingStore.com. I got mine from Kinetic Juggling, which is obviously out of business, but that's the first thing you need, obviously. Second, you're going to need a regular size hacksaw. You don't need this one per se, but it's good to have. It's going to make your job a lot easier. But what you really need is a small hacksaw, one that has a thin blade, much like this, and preferably a large curve along the outside. That way you'll have room to slit the ring through as you're cutting it. And also, you're going to need a large S-hook, preferably one that has a small side and a large side. You're going to need that. You're also going to need either a drill press or a hand drill, and other than that, that's about all you need besides a vise to hold it while you're sawing, unless you have a really steady grip. So, let's get started. So absolutely, the first thing that you want to do before you even start to think about cutting is to make sure that you've got the right size ring. Most of the time this isn't a problem because rings are a standard size of 14 inches, but you may get, depending on the manufacturer, you get a slightly larger 15-inch ring or a smaller 12-inch ring, and that's why you got to check. Mine work perfectly, and this is the way you check. Is pretty obvious. Just put it right over the front and see, that fits. That's my old set of rings, and this is my new set. Fits perfectly. So once you're done with that, you get rid of those. What you're going to need is a vise, and this is a Black & Decker original Workmate portable project center and vise. That is critical. This is an awesome table. It literally has the ability to act like a vise on anything you need, and you can clamp it down as hard as you want. It ain't gonna warp the ring that much. So from there, you grab your large hacksaw or your small one. If you don't have a large one, it's good to have a nice sharp blade, obviously. And what you want to do is cut it twice at 1 and 180 degrees, because one fat ring will make 2 holsters. The best way to do it is to get a 180 degree curve. That way it'll hold the ring at its most secure, and anything more than 180 degrees and the ring, you'll have to force it in and out every time. So with that settled, let's get cutting. Alright, so we've got our ring cut into 2 equal halves that are very hard to manipulate. This is an interesting prop in and of itself, is finding half moons, but that's another episode. What you want to do here now is cut out the inside wall of the ring. This isn't very critical, and you can do this as sloppily as you want. If you've got a grinder or a bandsaw, this is going to go absolutely like butter. But what you want to do is make sure that you at least leave half, at the absolute most, half of the ring still there. You want to cut it as close to the inside wall as you possibly can. And this is where a good vise really comes in handy, because you do not want this to move. So you take your small bladed saw, the one that's good at curves, make sure it's sharp and angled right, and the closer you cut to the inside wall, the better, because then the ring isn't going to flex as much. And as we all know, flexing makes for bad cuts. For anybody that's taken wood or shop class would know that. So you want to start cutting. Really make sure that you've got a good grip with the vise in a position that's going to allow you to cut it in a comfortable way. This takes some trial and error, so make a few, test pulls before you actually start cutting to make sure that yes, you're comfortable, and no, you're not going to slice your fingers off. This feels pretty comfortable for me, so I'm just going to start now. Now what you want to do, let me take a second to pause here, is you want to angle the blade so that you're only cutting one side of the ring at any one point. Anybody that's a Boy Scout will do this instinctively, but there are a lot of people here who haven't been to the Boy or Girl Scouts. So what you're going to do is you're going to angle it, like I just said, and make sure you're cutting one at a time. Tilt it the other way. Go until you start feeling resistance, then start cutting the other way. Tilt it until you can't feel resistance anymore, and continue cutting. Okay, so now it's to the point where it's not comfortable anymore. So I'm going to leave the saw in there just because it's easier, and tilt it, and tilt the ring so that it's again in a comfortable position for me. And there you go. Unhook. And we've got a nice clean cut. Well, not exactly clean, it still needs to be sanded, but that doesn't really matter as much. Junk. Okay, so everything up to this point has been cake. Any 6-year-old in the Boy Scouts can do it. The hard part is figuring out where to put your S-hook into your ring and actually drilling the holes to do it. First thing you got to think about is which side is this holster supposed to be on? Is it going to be on the right side, or is it going to be on the left side? Or if you've done both, which side have I already done and which one do I still need to do? The easiest way to figure this out is just put the S-hook right up next to it, like this, and figure out which way it's pointing. This is pointing that way, that's going to be on the left side, so I need to drill it on that side there. Because I already have one for the right side, this is for the left. So, what you want to do is find something to hold apart the two halves of the ring, because they're going to crush together and you're going to be drilling through it, and any loose things are not going to make for good drilling. So, put the piece of drywall in there. You can use whatever you want, whether it be a piece of wood, drywall, or whatever else you happen to find that you don't care if you drill through. So, set that up right there. And now, to find out which size drill bit I need. I already pre-checked. This is the one that I need. It fits perfectly, and the way you figure it out is you put the drill bit right next to which side you're pulling through and just eyeball it. So, that's that. So now, get rid of the extra drill bits. Take this one, put it in. And get ready to hear some loud noise because this drill press is old and loud. Again, you could use either a drill press, a hand drill, or whatever else you may think to do it. It doesn't really matter as long as you can slowly increase the size of the hole until you get it right. Because you want the hole to be a little bit of a tight fit, but not so much that you're going to poke the hook through your hand while you're trying to force it through the hole. So this is the right size one. Plug it in, turn on. And yes, it's just that easy. And there is your finished holster. Now, the way this one works is you're going to hook it onto your belt, and you're going to take your ring, and one moment please, take your ring and slot it. If you'll notice, unless you've got a really, really thin S-hook, you'll notice that it goes all the way to the other side. That's what you need. You slot it through there so that the S-hook holds it against the opposite side, push it down to the bottom, and that will hold it in place until you need it. Of course, you can do it the opposite way where you have it resting via gravity on the bottom. I don't prefer that way, but there it is. And there's your finished holster. Have fun. If you want to send me an email, you can do so, jojfans@gmail.com. That will forward to my regular inbox, and I guarantee you that I will reply no matter what you send me. You can also do... What else can they do? They can visit the website, Reese's2150.com/JOJ. You can also, and I recently just figured this out, you can send me a donation. If you want to see more episodes more frequently, please, I need money because I don't have a job right now, and I'm heading to the WJF, which is going to completely drain my bank account. So, send me that. My PayPal address, Reese's2150@msn.com. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at WJF 5. Out.